Now we are starting with a inhalation agent, and the first one is a nitrous oxide. Nitrous oxide has a rapid onset and offset. It has a low potency. It is usually used as an adjunct rather than using as a main drug. It produces second gas effect, as I have already explained you. It also produces hypoxia, and it has certain serious toxicity because it inhibits methionine synthetase, and therefore it can affect the WBC and the RBC, and it will lead to the leukopenia and megaloblastic anemia. Not only that, but it has a tendency to expand in the spaces in the body, which can be also dangerous with a nitrous oxide. It is colorless, odorless, heavier than air. It's non-inflammable. It is comparatively less costly, and therefore that's the reason why it is used so commonly. It is non-irritating, but yes, it has a low potency and therefore has to be used at a very high concentration, 70 to 80%. Its MAC value, if you see, is 105%, which state that even pure nitrous oxide cannot produce adequate anesthesia at 1 atmospheric pressure. So patient is always required to be maintained as 70% nitrous oxide, 30% oxygen, along with use of certain muscle relaxant. Sometimes even after giving this high concentration, patient recalls about during the anesthesia. So there is no good amnesia which gets induced. It is good analgesic. That may be the reason why it is combined. Even 20% produces analgesia, which is equivalent to that produced by the morphine, but it's a poor muscle relaxant, and therefore you have to give neuromuscular blocking agent like ditobacurarin or succinylcholine. The onset of the action is quick, less soluble in water, and smooth, but you need to give. Even a thiopentone is often used as an inducing agent. Recovery also takes place very rapidly. Again, a reason is because of its low blood solubility. There exists a second gas effect. There exists a diffusion hypoxia, usually used as a carrier. Usually the combination which is preferred is 70% nitrous oxide, 25 to 30% oxygen, and then you can combine for second gas effect some 0.2 to 2% of any other potent anesthetic when you are carrying out surgical procedure. Or you can go for Entonox preparation where 50% nitrous oxide and 50% oxygen is used. But this combination is usually preferred when you are carrying out certain dental or obstetrical operations that during the labor pain. It is non-toxic to the tissues like liver, kidney, and the brain. Metabolism does not occur, and it gets completely removed from the body via exhalation process. But what you have to remember is that it can cause a toxicity because it inhibits methionine synthetase, and it can lead to leukopenia and megaloblastic anemia. And another thing which you have to remember in case of delivery to the nitrous oxide to the body, that wherever there are going to be the spaces, the gas is going to get expanded into those spaces of the body. The next important general anesthetic is halothane. This is very widely used in the children and not much into the adult due to the fear of hepatotoxicity. This is a figure which will give you the occurrence of the hepatotoxicity, and usually occurs because of its toxic metabolite which produces certain immunological effects. It is not very common, but it occurs with a frequent administration. And transient and reversal hepatic depression is very common with halothane. As compared to the nitrous oxide, you can see it's very potent because its MAC value is 0.8. It's not a gaseous in the nature. It is volatile liquid with sweet odor, non-irritant, non-inflammable, and therefore it can be used as a good inducing agent in the small children. But it causes cardiac depression. It can cause hypotension. It sensitizes the heart to adrenaline-induced cardiac arrhythmia. It causes direct depression of the myocardial contractility because it reduces intracellular calcium concentration. The cardiac output is reduced with more deepening of the anesthesia. Blood pressure begins to fall down early, and it also further fall downs with as a depth of the anesthesia increases. Vascular bed dilates, but there is not much difference in the peripheral resistance. The heart rate gets reduced because it causes vagal stimulation. It causes direct depression of SA node, and it even causes the lack of reflex mechanism, baroreceptor reflex mechanism or activation doesn't take place. Even there is a fall in the blood pressure, and that makes the heart more sensitive to the arrhythmogenic effect of adrenaline. It also relaxes the skeletal and the smooth muscle. It produces a cerebral vasodilation effect, because of which sometimes there may be an increase in the intracranial blood pressure. It relatively causes a greater depression as compared to the other anesthetic agent, and majorly it depresses the respiration, and because of which the breathing becomes shallow and rapid. The partial pressure of the carbon dioxide in the blood gets elevated if the respiration is not assisted, and that may sometimes need a additional ventilatory support with oxygen, which is sometimes is frequent. It also sometimes accentuate the, if there is a mismatch, it will potentiate it, the mismatch between the perfusion and the ventilation in the lungs by causing the vasodilation in the hypoxic alveoli. A very important thing about halothane is that causes the abolition of the pharyngeal and the laryngeal reflexes, so intubation can be carried out. And the early coughing is also suppressed because there is a dilation of the bronchi, and therefore it can be used preferably in hypersensitive patient like asthma, asthmatic patient it is preferred. It also reduces the urine formation during the halothane anesthesia because it causes lowering of the glomerular filtration rate. At the same time, it is causing fall in BP, and therefore the urination doesn't occur when the patient moves into anesthesia. So halothane causes unconsciousness. However, that does not provide adequate analgesia like nitrous oxide. Halothane is associated with reversible reduction in the glomerular filtration rate. So it is relatively potent, non-inflammable. The drug's low blood gas partition coefficient explains both relatively rapid anesthesia, induction, and recovery. It can be used to provide controlled hypotension, especially in facial surgeries, so that there will be less blood filled while carrying out the surgery to reduce or manage the bleeding. At the same time, it is also a drug of choice in pediatric anesthesia in the small children. But we cannot forget there are associated side effects, hepatitis with trifluoroacetic acid, hyperthermia in certain patients, the lung toxicity, hypertension, bradycardia, dysarrhythmia. Even it causes contraction of the uterine, it causes the relaxation of the uterine muscle. So in obstetrical operation, sometimes delivery may get prolonged or it may be dangerous. 30% of the drug get metabolized by oxidative or reductive pathway to trifluoroacetic acid. There is a spontaneous degradation also taking place when you are storing. So that can be minimized by storing it into the brown bottle, and it may cause malignant hyperthermia. Though it's a rare, it is danger. It's a genetic disorder, and I have already explained you, so I will not go in detail that how it can be treated. It can be treated by administering dantrolene to the patient. Now, when we are learning other anesthetics of these categories, which are fluorinated derivatives, usually you can remember these derivatives if you remember the distinguishing characteristics of this drug in comparison with halothane. So isoflurane is the one which provides adequate muscle relaxation, and it is even greater than that of the halothane, and hence isoflurane, while performing the abdominal procedures, will be preferred over halothane. Initially, until the deeper levels of anesthesia are reached, isoflurane has a disadvantage that it causes or stimulates the airway reflexes, and that may lead to the increase in the bronchial secretion, sometimes coughing, and even the contraction of the larynx causing laryngospasm. And this is usually found very common with isoflurane as compared to the other derivative, that is enflurane and halothane. As with the enflurane, isoflurane relaxation of the uterine muscle is not desirable if during the obstetrical operations or during the delivery, you are desiring that there has to be a uterine contraction to limit the blood loss. So isoflurane uterine relaxation will not be desirable in those conditions. Then it is also associated with a reduction in the glomerular filtration, and that's why urination frequency will reduce during the anesthesia. Even unlike enflurane, the convulsive activity is not very common with the isoflurane. It is more common with enflurane, but in isoflurane it is comparatively not very common. So if you see the advantages of isoflurane, it produces a rapid anesthesia. Anesthesia is comparatively smooth. Obviously, the adjustment is required till you reach to that depth of the anesthesia with limited effects on pulse and respiration. The depth of the anesthesia is easily controlled. There are no chances of the renal or the hepatic toxicity. In halothane, we have seen there was an effect on the cerebral blood flow, but here the cerebral blood flow and intracranial pressure are readily controlled. Isoflurane is among all fluorinated derivatives nowadays, isoflurane is the most widely used inhalation anesthetic, and the most important advantage of using isoflurane is that it causes very good skeletal muscle relaxations. In halothane we have seen, or other anesthetics we have seen, they are arrhythmogenic in the nature, but here the arrhythmias are uncommon. But it shares one common side effect with halothane, and that is it can also cause malignant hyperthermia. Then in the similar category, there is a drug called enflurane, which is more similar to halothane regarding its potency and speed of induction of anesthesia. It is actually an isomer of isoflurane with MAC value 1.8, and it provides unconsciousness with slight increase in the salivary secretion and some tracheobronchial secretion. It is also associated with, similar to isoflurane, reversible reduction in the glomerular filtration rate. Usually its metabolites are fluorides, and they usually do not cause much of the kidney toxicity or any hepatic toxicity. It causes fall in the BP because it has a cardiac depressant effect. And another disadvantage of the enflurane is that it induces seizures. So attacks of the epilepsy are common with enflurane and should be then taken care if the patient has a history of the epilepsy. Another disadvantage is that it has a very strong respiratory depressant effect. Otherwise, if you see the advantages, it has a rapid, smooth adjustment of the depth of anesthesia is there. Then as compared to halothane, comparatively the less arrhythmias are there. And nausea or post-operative shivering and vomiting is also comparatively less. Yes, relaxation of the skeletal muscle is very good. So abdominal operations can be carried out. And enflurane will be the preferred. Halothane we have seen is preferred in children, whereas enflurane will be a preferred anesthetic in adults. Disadvantages are there, which I told you. There are convulsions. There will be interference with the uterine contractility. Relaxation will be there. And being a fluorinated derivative, again, similar to halothane, it will cause malignant hyperthermia in some of the patient. The next to the newer halogenated derivatives are desflurane. Its MAC value is 4.8. As compared to other fluorinated derivative, or halogenated derivative, it is less lipid soluble, and it has a low oil gas partition coefficient and very low solubility in the blood. So you can see there is a rapid induction as well as the rapid recovery. It is highly volatile in the nature, and special apparatus is required therefore to vaporize it. Especially when you're using nitrous oxide as a carrier, oxygen and nitrous oxide as a carrier. It has a very limited solubility, and that is why it allows a rapid recovery and induction. It also causes irritation, and therefore there can be a laryngospasm or coughing may be associated after administration of the desflurane. But because it has a rapid induction and rapid recovery in the small duration surgical operations, it will be preferred because its recovery is twice as rapid as that of the isoflurane. Circulatory effects are almost similar to the isoflurane. There is conservation of the cardiac output. There is reversible reduction in the GFR. Seizures are not observed. Even in very few cases, malignant hyperthermia is observed. There is no renal toxicity. Because there is a muscle relaxation, intubation becomes easy, and the dosage of the muscle relaxant which are required to be given as a pre-anesthetic medication are reduced because the drug itself has a muscle relaxant activity. If given along with, means it potentiates the arrhythmic effect if given along with adrenaline. This potentiation of the arrhythmic effect, but comparative to halothane, is less. It undergoes minimum metabolism, and the only constraint why desflurane is not very widely used as compared to halothane and isoflurane is that it is very expensive.